we're back with no technical difficulties this time. Absolutely.
No, this is the first take.
Absolutely first
Totally
take.
this first take.
I didn't hit the wrong button by accident. And yep, my waveform is looking nice, pretty, and loud. Yep.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I know, that's me. Welcome back, everybody, to Tall and Short with Tim and Tony. He's Tony.
And that's Tim over there.
Yep. Yeah, if things sound a little bit weird, it's because a lot has happened. A lot has happened within the past, what?
Brick killed a guy. Brick killed a guy.
Yeah, Brick killed the guy. You might want
With a
to...
trident.
I want to lay low for a little bit there, Brick.
That escalated so quickly.
Brick, where'd you get a hand grenade?
That's...
Anyway, yeah, it has been a minute, everybody. Sorry for the going dark and everything on this for a hot minute, but things have happened in personal lives, so might as well touch on that real quick. As it knows, I got married back in February. My now wife and I decided to do something a little bit untraditional. What we did was we did the wedding, and then we did the reception separate. This was to help with families and other stuff, that sort of thing. Then, right after that, we bought a house.
Yeah,
so
just a house, no big deal.
We've been
lifelong commitment.
We've been moving.
Yeah.
We've been moving, and if it sounds a little weird, we're in my office, little studio that we have in the house. The panels aren't up yet, so if it's a little echoey reverb, that'll be gone in the next couple episodes.
You're hearing things, you need to go take a drug test.
That too.
Probably that. So, before we get too far away, shout out to the one fan that wanted to meet me at your reception.
Oh yeah, she was like, "Where's Tony?" And I was like, "Oh," but
my kid had a double ear infection that week, and I wasn't able to attend the reception because I was taking care of him. So, yeah. But shout out to, I forgot your name already.
Her name's Lauren.
Lauren, that's what. Yeah.
Yeah, she wanted to meet you. Like, I introduced you to your mother, though.
Yeah, I'm sorry in advance, Lauren.
Funny enough, I don't know if I introduced my mother to your mother yet, so they couldn't commiserate over the two of us.
That's probably for the best.
I don't know.
Because my mom would be like, "What did you do?" Yeah. And then your mom would probably do the same thing to my mom.
Your mother more than my mother. My mother, she's only met you a handful of times.
That's more than enough, unfortunately, for some people.
But yeah, the friggin'... oh god.
I don't record the stuff solo. I could have, but I don't want to blow up the equipment because somehow it would catch fire. And that seems like an expensive ordeal.
The reception was a fun time, and it was a wonderful time. It was, if anybody would like to, it was at the Osteology Museum in Oklahoma City. I'll actually plug that one here. They don't sponsor us, but it's a fun place. It is... People are like, oh, it's creepy because it's skeletons. It's actually very educational, a little entertaining, and
pretty fascinating.
And it is also now been... I saw something like it is now labeled like autistic friendly, I think, or what have you.
Yeah.
Like there's something specific on the social medias.
Yeah. It's actually it's not that big of a place, but it is very fascinating, and they've got a lot of full skeletons.
Oh,
like they've got this, I think it's not blue whale,
humpback.
But humpback.
A full 40-foot humpback whale suspended from the rafters. It is a really cool place.
And then next door they have a cleaning company that cleans off skeletons and skulls and stuff, so a lot of hunters. And actually I think we donated my horse when he passed away. We actually donated him to the museum.
Skulls Unlimited? Yeah,
So,
it wouldn't surprise me.
But yeah, so if you ever see the horse, that might be mine. But yeah, it's a really cool place. Yeah, anyway,
but we are back now. The still moving, as I said. Like,
yeah, he's got posters all over the floor.
Got posters, got foam panels. It's going to be a mess for a minute, but we'll be back to proper everything after a while. So, all the pleasantries aside, because so much has happened, I want to get in today, Tony, with a topic that it's definitely been on my radar for a while.
Yeah, because you've brought it up more than a few times.
Brought it up a couple of times.
Yeah,
because
behind the scenes.
Last episode we mentioned the glowing figures, because I was like, glowing figures.
Yeah, I don't remember that. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been over a month. Like, we're going to
Jesus.
break the mold on this one. It's been over a month.
God.
And I had to have people saying, when are you going to put more episodes out? Because
When I feel like it.
yeah, we're back into it. Scheduling has been something. Anyway. But we're discussing our first foray into the extraterrestrial side of things that go bump in the night.
Oh, goody.
Now, I mean, we talked about Mothman. There's some extraterrestrialness to that, but that's still more...
It's still more crypto, or cryptid than...
Cryptid, supernatural, like, creepy.
But this is a full-blown...
This is more actual extraterrestrial focused. Today, we're going to be talking about the Kelly-Hopkinsville encounter.
I remember bits and pieces of this one.
I have quite a few.
Yeah, you've got a novel over there.
9 pages. It's nothing fancy.
That's like 15 to... I don't know numbers.
Yeah, it's a long number for you anyway. I've got a question. When was the first time that you actually learned about this incident?
So, standard.
North American Monsters, all
the
right.
W. Hayden Blackman North American Monster Field Guide.
Yeah.
Short origin story on that. That was... I picked it up at the Norman Library when we lived in Blanchard, Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. And I picked it up, and I think they have like a 3-week rental, and I would leave it there for a week, and then I'd run it again for the full 3 weeks, and I would just barrel through it every day to the point where I almost had it memorized, and Hopkinsville was in there, and that was probably the first time, so I was 9-10 years old.
Yeah. Mine wasn't even from a book like that. It was actually from... I forgot the title of it, but it was like famous monsters, different iterations, and, it had like Chupacabra, Black Dog, Boogeyman, a whole bunch of these really specific, and they were all drawn by the same artist. And then one of them, it said Hopkinsville Goblin, which was this silvery, freaky-looking creature with big eyes, yellow teeth, sharp, tiny, pointy yellow teeth.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I tried looking that up, and I kept saying Kelly-Hopkinsville. I said, that's not the Hopkinsville Goblin, because I was dumb. I was young and dumb. But
now you're just old and dumb.
Yeah. Yeah. You got me. But I have quite a few sources for this one because I am more inclined to use sources. I do like sources.
Yeah.
The first one is Alien Legacy by Geraldine Sutton Stiff. The second one, Kelly Greenman, Alien Legacy Revisited, also Geraldine Sutton Stiff. Siege of Little Green Men, the 1955 Kelly, Kentucky incident by Joe Nickel from the Skeptical Inquirer. So Joe Nickel's involved with this. I actually got a subscription to Skeptical Inquirer so I could read this article.
Nice.
I had to. There was no way I could read it without it. That's the one. Let's see. How the Little Green Men phenomenon began on a Kentucky farm on History Channel's website, which offered a little bit of information. A 1955 Kentucky New Era news article titled Story of Spaceship, 12 Little Men Probed Today.
Right there, yep.
A 1955 Evansville Press news article titled Kentuckians Report Battle with Little Men from Space.
Which just sounds like that, those video games Destroy All Humans.
Yes, absolutely.
That's immediately what I think of.
Or a 1950s, it came from outer space.
Yep.
Yes. And then, of course, the Wikipedia article for Little Green Men.
Yep.
And on the Wikipedia, you shouldn't take it. We're not a
college.
We're not a scholarly thing here, so I utilize it.
No,
And
we're not.
And also, Wikipedia does offer sources at most citations at the bottom. If it said citation needed, I'm like, I will not use that. But if there were sources cited, I went with it. I'm having a stroke over here, I swear
I
to
like
God.
the other way you said that was funny.
Size is sorted?
Size is sorted. That's
There-
a shirt.
There you go. There is no setup for this. There is no context. Just, we're gonna go right into the encounter from the end.
Just no foreplay, just straight into it. You completely forgot how we do this, don't you?
Just bite the pillow, Tony. It's
Just,
okay.
Don't say things like that. Don't say things like that. You creepy little goblin. Yeah, that's why I said it.
On a warm Kentucky night, around 11 p.m., August 21st, 1955, members of the Sutton family arrived at the Hopkinsville police station in a frenzy, with claims that they were attacked by little glowing men. The family consisted of Glennie Langford, the 50-year-old widow and matriarch of the family, her two older sons from a previous marriage, Elmer Lucky Sutton, age 25, John Charlie J.C. Sutton, age 21, their wives, Vera, age 29, and Aileen, age 27, respectively. So, Vera is Lucky's wife, Aileen is JC's wife.
Okay.
Her, Glennie's younger children, Lonnie, age 12, Charlton, age 10, and Mary, age 7. Then, of course, Aileen's brother, O.P. Baker, just O.P., like I couldn't find his actual name, could have been Oscar, could have been Oliver, but
Yeah.
this is back in the 1950s when the first two initials were... but anyway, Baker was in his 30s, but it's not sure... One article said 30, others said 35, so I'm just like, he's in his 30s. I'm keeping it easy.
Okay.
And then finally, Billy Ray Taylor, age 21, and his wife, June, age 18.
Okay.
We're going to jump back to the day before all this happened. So August 20th, just a little setup. I do like some setup. Elmer Lucky Sutton. Some called him Lucky throughout I'm going to call him Lucky throughout this episode because that was his nickname and the whole thing. Elmer, or Lucky, Vera Sutton, Billy Ray Taylor, and June Taylor were driving from Evansville, Indiana to Kelly, Kentucky, which was a good couple-hour drive.
Yeah.
Through the rural countryside. All four of them had worked for a carnival. Lucky and Billy Ray became friends real quick when they met. Lucky was a carnival barker as well as a knife thrower. So, there's some fun right there.
Okay.
I think he also had thrown knives at his wife, Vera. So, yeah. There's some interesting... Yeah. I wonder if that's how they met. Like, man, he threw knives at me on the board and I fell in love at first sight.
Man, you're gonna I pissed off the French people way back when. Now you're gonna just piss off all the Kentuckians,
Appalachians.
Well,
I mean, we are in Appalachia. So, boy.
it's debatable. We're Oklahoma.
No, the story is
Oh.
Oklahoma's far from Appalachia.
I was like, yeah, we have a little bit of it
we
somewhere.
don't have enough.
Yeah.
But Lucky had left for the carnival when he was young, around, 14 years old. His childhood was difficult because his father was described as a devil of a man, mean-spirited, short-tempered, who ultimately abandoned the family, never to be seen again. And I got this information from Geraldine Stith's books, because she is Lucky's daughter.
Okay.
So I'm getting secondhand, firsthand, I think is how this is.
Yeah.
Like, Geraldine actually had said in one of her books that she's never seen a picture of her grandfather. So he was out of the picture.
Damn.
Yeah, he was that bad. Funny enough, with Lucky, he got his nickname just because he was a lucky person. Something bad would happen, and somehow he'd still come out on top. Don't know how, he just did. He even had his knuckles tattooed Lucky. So, I give him props for that one.
Yeah, I mean...
After a couple hours of driving, they arrived at the family farm, which was owned by Glennie Langford. Glennie, like many Appalachian women, was a religious woman. She didn't believe in smoking, drinking, cussing, or any bad things like that. I mean, hell, you get caught lying, you gotta deal with the wrath of Mama and her God.
You better hope you meet God first.
Oh, yeah. But I can also guarantee this, that she could probably cook up a decent meal. I mean, Appalachian home cooking is no issue, man.
Oh, yeah, no. It's delicious.
Oh, yeah. Like, you are not gonna go to bed hungry unless you have anger.
No, you're gonna go into a coma.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
And just don't ask what it is.
Some occasions that's just for the better. Just be like chicken. It's fried chicken.
What's it taste like, chicken? There you go.
Yep. Glennie had lost her second husband a couple years back, so so that's why widow matriarch.
Yeah.
John Charlie, JC, he and his wife Aileen were living with Glennie and were in the process of buying the farmhouse. The acres that the house came with, as well as some farm equipment. You know, keep it in the family sort of situation.
Yeah.
Which that's respectable. This was the 1950s.
Yeah.
This farmhouse was also an old-style farmhouse. It had no indoor plumbing. The family didn't even have radio or this newfangled contraption called television.
It's gonna go so well.
I'm also curious if they had electricity, if I'll be honest. I don't know if they did.
I would guess maybe not.
I couldn't find anything that said it did have or did not have electricity. I did look, but there was no indoor plumbing, so that right there is going to play a factor. Because that means that the farmhouse had a well outside in the backyard.
Yep.
And apparently the well water was actually very cool, very nice, especially for hot summer days. The next day, August 21st, a Sunday, the family went about their lives. The men woke up early to go rabbit hunting, the wives stayed behind to maintain the house, and Glennie took the children to church. Sounds about right for your standard Appalachian family.
Yeah.
Fast forward several hours to after supper. O.P. Baker's dropped by because he could get a right to work from Glennie's farm. He was Aileen's brother, so he was seen as family by Glennie. That's why he was there. Which, once again, par for the course with Appalachians. Like, you ain't done me wrong. Come on in. Gonna make sure you're nice and full. The men settled down for a card game while the children played amongst themselves, and the women cleaned up. This is the 1950s, so don't at me, feminists.
Well,
some of my jokes.
We've been off for a month, and we're already getting canned. All right,
I'm
great job,
canned.
Great job, bud.
I can't backpedal now. I can't backpedal on my jokes. I had one guy listening, like when we did the Italian joke at the beginning of the Emu War. I think it's like,
which makes sense.
He's like, man, this motherfucker. Yeah. Man. Around 7 p.m. Billy Ray Taylor was getting thirsty and decided to go get water from the well. Hot southern nights, man. You don't mess with those, especially when there's no frickin' AC. As Billy Ray was walking out, he claims to have seen a silvery object that was bright with the exhaust all the colors of the rainbow.
It's probably the moonshine speaking, Billy.
He says it was silent before it stopped midair and then dropped straight down. I'm thinking it may have floated down like... But still. Billy Ray ran back inside, slammed the door, and told the Sutton family what he had seen. Everyone just laughed him off and thought he was telling a story. Like, oh, Billy Ray, you're such a hoot. Lucky, Billy Ray pleaded to Lucky, and he's like, I'm not kidding, I'm not lying, I am not goofing on this one, please. So
he is not new boo goofing.
Pretty much. And Lucky's like, I'll humor you, Billy Ray. Let's go out. Let me see what you saw. Right? So they go out to investigate.
Did he see what he saw?
There was nothing in the sky. No strange glowing object in the sky.
So he didn't see Saw.
He didn't see Saw.
Okay.
And he didn't saw C either. But as they were...
Jokes are so stupid.
As they were walking back inside the house, though, as they were walking, they saw a strange glow in the woods, and soon a small creature that they describe as being 3 feet tall, having an oversized round head, long arms that ended in claws or talons, large glowing offset yellow eyes, and shimmering skin as if it were made of silver metal. It was floating above the ground, not moving its legs.
That's not horrifying at all.
That's a very, very specific description right away. Like, God damn, that is... Terrified by this, as they should be,
Yeah.
both men ran back into the house to grab a .22 rifle and a shotgun. One 1955 news report said it was a 12 gauge, while History's article said it was a 20 gauge. I'm more inclined to believe it was a 12 gauge shotgun because those things are powerful,
Yeah.
especially when you have acreage. I forgot it was.
Can confirm.
Yeah. I was like, oh, 20 gauge is bigger, right? No, 12 gauge is bigger.
Yeah.
12 gauge is stronger. Yeah. The figure appeared to lift its arms up as it walked toward the back door, looking like this. The two men fired at the creature, but it didn't appear to be fazed by the bullets. Instead, it did a flip and scampered back into the darkness.
And in that moment, Billy Ray shit his pants. As Billy Ray is a smart man.
Mm-hmm. Lucky and Billy Ray, both scared shitless. And then for the next 3 hours, it would be something out of a horror movie. One instance, they'd see a face in the window and fire at it, or another would walk up to the door, just poking their heads everywhere.
Wow.
Occasionally, you'd hear the skittering of, like, claws or something along the roof. Funny enough, not everybody, saw these figures. June Taylor, Billy Ray's wife, she was too scared to look. She was like, I can't do it.
One more time on that one.
I can't do it. Lonnie, Charlton, and Mary, the youngest, the kids, they were all hidden under a bed by their mother, Glennie. Joe Nickel had actually interviewed Lonnie during the 50th anniversary of the event. Lonnie was 62 at the time of the interview back in 2005.
Okay.
So, survivors.
Yeah.
Things really escalated, when Billy Ray went outside under the overhang roof.
Why would you do...
He checked to see if they were out there still.
He abided by horror movie rules.
And
why would you do that? You jackass.
He walks out under there, and as he gets past the overhang, a clawed hand reached down and touched his hair.
One of those little metal massage things.
Which prompted everyone to pull him back into the house, and for Lucky to run out and shoot at the figure on the roof.
No.
It apparently bounced. Nothing happened to that figure. He also shot at another creature that was in a tree, but it then floated to the ground and scampered into the darkness.
No, thank you.
I want to keep in mind that none of these creatures were hit by any of their shots. So either these things were impervious, or
someone really needed to work on their aim.
Or the men were terrible shots. In fact, they had... After a few hours of just this fear...
Of harassment.
Yep, pretty much. The family waited until they felt it was safe enough. They piled back inside, heard skittering, and they waited. Once everything was quiet down, a little bit before 11 p.m., they piled into their cars and hightailed it to the Hopkinsville police station. There, Police Chief Russell Greenwell called for backup to the Sutton home, and soon, more than a dozen city, county, and state officers from both Christian and Hopkins counties converged on the farmhouse.
Jesus.
Where they remained until 2 a.m.
Damn.
Yep. The city officers consisted of Chief Greenwell, officers T.C. Gross, Doris Francis, and Gray Salter. I managed to get their names from the actual news articles, which was really awesome.
Yeah.
Responding to the radio were state troopers R.N. Ferguson Jr. and G.N. Riley, and Deputy Sheriff George Bates, as well as 4 MPs from Fort Campbell, an army base.
Holy shit.
An army base that was nearby. That bordered on South Kentucky, northern Mississippi, I think, Mississippi.
Good Lord.
Or Tennessee. Tennessee, Kentucky's on top of Tennessee. Yeah.
You do geography.
Border's a thing. The radio...
Blue pen!
Blue pen! The radio discussions also brought in 2 deputy sheriffs from Hopkins County and then 3 state troopers from Madisonville. So we had quite a few people showing up to this.
Jesus Christ, that's... I vaguely remember the MPs being involved, but good lord, that's how many different...
About over a dozen
departments?
now. 3 or 4 of them.
Jesus.
When the officers first arrived, they found the home to be deserted and quiet. While there were no signs of little men or the alleged spacecraft that had landed behind the house, the officers did find 1 bullet hole in a screen. Also, I'm gonna fix something I said earlier. I said a .22 rifle. It was a .22 pistol.
Yeah.
Because the hole being from a .22 pistol. You can tell when it's a shotgun. There's no screen.
There's a hole where the door was.
There's a big hole. But this was just like a little one, like...
Yeah, a little pee hole.
.22 pistol. Yeah. So they were like, okay, there's that. They also found a couple other, spent casings from the gun. So some collaboration was done. For the rest of the investigation, it was quiet, except for when one of the MPs accidentally stepped on a cat's tail, which gave everyone present a good spook.
And then shots were fired and everything.
Now, dumb question. You've stepped on a cat's tail, right?
Yeah, you don't do that. That's...
Now, I have done that too with my cats, and the sound that they make, it will make you jump.
This whole event was just caused by someone stepping on a cattail. That's that.
After the police wrapped up their investigation at the house, the Sutton family returned, and some sources that I came across actually say that the police were called out again around 3:30 a.m. because a mysterious glow was outside the windows. The police couldn't find anything.
I mean, if they didn't have radio, they didn't have TV, did they have a phone?
I don't. I
That's kind of.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
They may have been given a radio or something.
Yeah, that's possible.
I don't know. I didn't come across that detail, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was just like, hang on, wait.
Yeah. And there were other small details too in that. Like, for example, Glennie Langford, she actually didn't go to her. She actually slept on the couch that night, and it was outside the windows in the living room that she saw the lights.
Okay.
There's all other types of little details like that I came across that I'm just thinking, all right. Because if you go to like the Wikipedia article for this thing, it overpasses it supersedes everything. There's almost nothing. It's just it was this and that and blah blah blah. I'm like, that ain't helpful. It's like, that ain't helpful here. I like those details, the stuff that helps us get to know these people a little better
and everything.
Yeah, that's why I had to look. That's why I'm glad I got Geraldine's books.
Yeah,
because she talked about how. I mean, I'll get into quite a bit of it after all this. I don't want to jump the gun. Now, not long after, thank you to the news media. The Sutton home was besieged by something worse than mysterious beings from another planet. Other people. Especially those who were curious as to what happened that fateful night. Many people wanted to come up with cameras like, where's the aliens at? I want to see the aliens! Shit. And I think Glennie or one of the women said, if you saw them, you'd be scared as pissless as we are, or something akin to that. Like, yeah, you wouldn't be all, hey, I found it. You'd be scared as hell. You'd void your bowels and everything. The Suttons did try to put up no trespassing signs just to stop these people, but that wasn't enough. So they tried to turn a profit by charging admission. 50
why not?
50 cents to enter, $1 for information, and $10 for photographs. Unfortunately, they didn't make a single penny from this, because the second people found out that they were charging for it, immediately, phonies, hoaxes, con artists!
Yep. I understand the jump to that conclusion of,
The son works for a carnival, therefore he's a hoaxer.
Yep.
Yeah, that whole nonsense. besides all that, the incident's over. A short 3 hours of fear of something outside. But now there's the question of, what the hell had the Sutton family seen that night? Even more, everybody sort of went about their lives sort of as usual. Glennie sold the farm and she moved to the city with her kids. She moved to an apartment. She believed in, safety in numbers, which I don't blame her.
After that incident, I don't blame her.
Yeah. Lucky, he stopped being a carnival worker. He settled down. He and Vera actually divorced not long after. And he wound up meeting somebody that he had a childhood crush on. Yeah. Childhood crush that he had on for a while. And she lost her husband to tuberculosis, so they got together shortly after, and that's where Geraldine comes into the mix. Lucky apparently still worked for farms. He liked working with cattle, like on dairy farms and stuff, because they didn't judge you. He felt ridiculed.
I could see that.
Yeah, he felt ridiculed because people wouldn't take his story seriously, because he might have been, and I couldn't find anything else on the other people, unfortunately. So, like O.P. Baker, J.C. Sutton, anybody else involved, didn't have anything on them. But Lucky, and it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of the other members of the Sutton family, because their names were in the article and whatnot, in the news articles. It wouldn't surprise me that they all got phone calls from people saying, "Hey, we want to talk to you about the aliens.
Oh yeah,
can we talk to you about this?"
Yeah,
that's then how. And they kept quiet on it for a few years, but then a couple of investigators came up and talked to Lucky, and he said, "You know what? Fine, I'll tell my story."
Yeah.
And then that's where Geraldine learned about it.
That seems to be about this, like, people that see or, experience something like that, the initial trauma and attention, and then it sort of dies off again, and then people start getting reinterested in it.
Yeah.
So, that sort of all tracks timeline-wise on how everything went down for him post goblin attack.
Interestingly enough, a few things that were, I kind of take these with a grain of salt, just for the, sometimes some of this stuff happen. People say something later in life, I'm like, grain of salt, because they could have just been like, I'm gonna throw my hat into this mix. Yeah. There were a couple of like people from around the Kelly-Hopkinsville area who were not related to the Suttons at all, but they claimed that they saw strange lights and everything too, and they even heard the gunshots coming from the Sutton family. So, and the screaming and hooting and hollering, and so
get back in this house, Billy.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But they didn't come forward about it after a few years because, again, mockery and that sort of thing. That's something you don't just get away from without being considered a lunatic.
Yeah. Or,
especially back in the 1950s. Like,
oh, absolutely.
Crap. I had somebody... the sheriff. The police chief. The police chief.
Yeah.
Apparently, he had actually seen, like, a flying object or whatever, like, a couple years ago or something. So he was actually even quoted in one of the news articles as, like, it's possible we're not alone in the world. Not alone in the universe or whatever. So, but back to what the hell they'd seen. We're going to start off with the descriptions and how many of these creatures there supposedly were.
Yeah.
The Sutton family claimed there were 12 to 15 of these beings outside of the house, but they'd only ever seen one or two at a time. So there's some little inflation on numbers.
Yeah, the piece from the
wizard from
the field guide. At least a dozen crawled around the house on all fours, investigating windows and doors in search of a way into the building.
Now, the thing is, I never saw anything about that in the sources I found, because the thing is, these things were described as having stiff legs, like the legs didn't move.
Yeah.
So it's hard to crawl around on all fours. So I think that is a little embellishment.
Oh, this is all taken with not a grain of salt, but the whole container, or the whole shaker of salt.
Yeah.
That's where Jimmy Buffett's shaker of salt went. Yeah, okay. It's very embellished. Blackman is a very good fiction writer, and he makes it seem like the script for a horror movie.
Yeah. Glennie Langford, she described seeing a figure like that of an old man or a monkey walking around her house, and that it was 2.5 to 3 feet tall. So there's a little height discrepancy, but again, Lucky described the creatures as being 3.5 to 4 feet tall, with bones like a skeleton with shiny metal all over them. Described their legs looking like fluorescent lights flashing. They had webbed hands with 6-inch long fingers that ended in claws and ears that came to a point. Yeah. Allegedly, the eyes of the creatures were also described as being 6 to 8 inches apart that shine like new money. And that's a quote. And that's a quote from one of my news articles. So I'm like, yes.
I'm reading a little bit ahead of you, and I'm reading the amazing fiction on this.
Yeah, the Glennie Langford actually described them, I recall in one of my sources, as I believe like a gas can with legs and a head and arms, something like a gas canister.
With this shiny silver.
Yeah.
Like a little propane tank or something, yeah.
Some people suspected that everyone had been drinking that night and hallucinated the figures, but Glennie Langford, she abhorred drinking and she forbid it on her property. Now, the guys smoked, but, everybody smoked in the 1950s.
Yeah.
And
cigarettes or otherwise.
Yeah, cigarettes were common back then. But they were
good for your health.
Absolutely. There may have been secret stores of alcohol by her sons because a visitor allegedly saw some beer cans in a trash basket, but I say allegedly.
Hey, we gotta protect those guys from their mom.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm just a little cautious of that type of stuff, because I do have my opinions about this that I will have at the end of this. Yeah. But the thing is, the Suttons, they weren't known for crazy stories and that sort of thing. Yeah. They
kept
didn't
themselves
do that.
in pretty...
Yeah. They just were like, we want to live our life and be normal about it.
Yeah.
A few skeptics believe that the family was attacked, not by little men from outer space, but by a pair of territorial great horned owls. It's thought that...
I could see that.
It's thought that there might have been a nest nearby and that the owls were trying to protect their young. Which, great horned owls are territorial if you get near there.
Extremely.
If you get near it. And I mean, great horned owls, they're not small.
No.
They are they're most nearly 2 feet in length, or height,
which
arguably.
Tracks with
an average wingspan of 4 feet.
Yeah. Which about tracks for a Hopkinsville.
For the creatures they allegedly saw. Females can weigh about 3.5 pounds and males about 2.6 pounds.
Yeah.
They have these very big, powerful talons, as well as feather tusks that give them their namesake of great horned owl, as well as these large, round, unblinking yellow eyes. Some say the silver glowing that they described was from the moon, but...
going through the feathers and stuff.
Actually, fun fact about the moon phase, and I Googled this, because you can actually Google...
Because you have that kind of time in your life.
Because what was the moon phase like on the night, August 21st, 1955? It was a waxing crescent moon, which is a sliver of a moon. We're talking maybe last week, or maybe a few days, maybe like less than a week and a half, it was a new moon. So, that's not a bright moon.
No.
That's not a bright moon at all. So, the silver glow, something that it may have been the lights from the house, but again, I don't know if they had electricity or if it was candlelight, so there's still the question of, what was the silver glow?
That's fair.
I do have some questions about this. Some think that this is also group psychosis or hysteria, and that one person saw something, got riled up, and everybody else just...
bad batch of hooch.
And everybody else just, followed along. And that everybody imagined everything. I don't know, man. And then there was, what was that supposed spacecraft that Billy Ray saw?
Yeah.
What was that? More than likely, it may have been a meteor shower that was happening at the same time. Like, the Perseids, I think, is what it was that were coming through. I failed to remember that information.
I feel like that would be a hell of a stretch for a meteor shower.
No, I agree. That is a stretch, because he described it as floating down.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did you look up like the population, because you have this kind of time apparently, look up moon phases from 70 years ago?
Yeah.
Like, are the great horned owls common in that? Like, do they live in that area?
They do.
Okay.
Great horned owls live throughout North America.
So
they are not just relegated to certain parts. They're all over the place.
Yeah.
They're very common.
So I'm gonna interject and to plug a YouTube channel I watch actually decently regularly, Casual Geographic. Mm-hmm. It's mildly comedic because it's a black man that uses interurban commentary with describing animals like Black Air Force energy.
Oh my god! You're making me think of when Snoop Dogg was doing nature documentaries.
Yeah, it's a lot like that.
Dude's like, man, you in the wrong neighborhood, cut.
Yeah.
Run, motherfucker, run.
Yeah, it's a lot like that, but he does it in a casual way. Like, he's not super, into it, like excited. But he's got this tiny little microphone he holds up like right next to his mouth and just talks, and he's like, y'all serious about this shit? Like, you see what this fucker does and you guys going up and petting it? Stupid white people.
I mean,
because it's us stupid white people, ooh, I want to pet the hippo. You fucking idiot.
Can I pet that dog?
Can I pet that dog?
I mean, he ain't wrong. He ain't wrong for nothing.
He actually had recently, I think it was like maybe 2 weeks ago now, an episode about owls, and he talks about the Mothman and the Hopkinsville goblins, and he talks about the great horned owl being a supposed, a supposed suspect.
Yeah.
He talks about the great horned owl being a suspect in both those cases, and I kind of lean towards the great horned owl theory, but then you do poke a hole in it. Well, what's the silver glowing?
And even further, apparently, like the owls, when they set their nest up, great horned owls, they don't build their nest.
No,
they find a nest that's already been made, and they take
commandeer.
Over. Yeah. Did they move the nest? Did they move nests? Perhaps.
Did the
but it's
Suttons
also,
maybe, not chainsaw, but did they maybe take a tree down?
Did they disturb it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. This had not happened before, so there's questions. Also, real quick, here's actually from the 1955 article. Here is what they actually look at that. That's the drawing that they had in
That's
the
fucking terrifying.
Oh yeah, it's weird, like the webbed hands and everything, and the beady eyes instead of these big glowing eyes.
That makes me think of an imp from like Baldur's Gate or from Dungeons and Dragons. It also makes me think of the robot devil from Futurama for some reason. I don't know why.
Oh crap, I gotta find it. I have got to find it. There is an... There it is.
And then...
I'm going to... Okay, I've actually found this. This is from... I'm gonna get into this when we get to it. But after everything with this incident, there were a few things that have come out of this with no surprise, no shocker. For one, this is where the start of the phrase "little green man" actually began.
I can see that.
Thanks to the Evansville Courier using the term to add a little flare of color to the story. Little silver
flare green, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Little flare of green, yeah. Little silver men it doesn't have much as nearly a ring.
Yeah, it doesn't ring as cool.
Yeah, and it's me. I did some digging on the actual term. Because that's Wikipedia article.
Because you look up moon phases from the 1950s in the regions of where owls live, you
I want to be able
Your
to...
Google history is fucking weird.
Dude, yeah. I had a whole thing on cannibalism at one point, okay?
You're on a list for sure.
I'm on a list. Like, I had to say again, this is research for a podcast. Don't at me, FBI, okay? And I am making that clear for the world to know.
I do not endorse in cannibalism. I'm just researching.
But there's a little history.
Don't say "but" after I say that. That sounds like you're trying to defend it.
Yeah,
But you know, jerky. You know, whatever.
All right. Now, the idea of beings from another planet is, like Mars being green, is way older than the 1950s.
Yeah.
One of the first times on this is actually in 1809. In his satiric History of New York, Washington Irving described men who lived on the moon as
Irving.
Washington
Headless
Irving.
Horseman.
Headless Horseman, Washington Irving. In fact, keep in mind, History of New York. Does that sound familiar?
I want a crossover. The Headless Horseman who meets the Hopkinsville Goblin.
That'd be, oh my god. But he described men living on the moon and that their skin color was pea green.
If your pee is green, go see a doctor. Oh, you mean the vet?
The vegetable. Wait, are you serious?
It's a little bit, yeah.
Oh my god, Tony.
I don't know.
But the name History of New York, it's the exact same History of New York where he mentions Saint Nick. The exact same one. So, nice little throwback to episode 17.
So is this turning into? I feel like we're setting up the S&T multiverse right now.
The tall and short universe.
Yes.
The tall and short multiverse.
The STU.
The TSM. The TSM multi-universe. Yeah, I like that. Here's another one for you. 1912, Edgar Rice Burroughs published Princess of Mars, which was on one of those Pulp Fiction, Conan the Barbarian style stories back in the day.
Yeah.
Which depicts green Martians. This is the John Carpenter stuff. No, wait, John Carter.
So now we're getting the Thing involved? What?
No, not Carpenter. John Carter.
Okay.
They made a movie.
Oh, the
about
Disney flop that was
John Carter of Mars. Yeah, but the Martians are not little green men. They are giant green men, being 10 to 12 feet tall, with 4 arms and curled tusks.
I mean, tall to you, like that's
that tall to you. You're 6'4" bastard. But this is a magazine cover, like a Pulp Fiction magazine cover from 1951, depicting little green men. Look at the way they're depicted. Green with pointy
call back
ears.
to our Pokemon episode. That looks like a green Sableye.
They do.
Shiny Sableye.
They've got the pointy ears. They got the big eyes.
I think Sableye is inspired by them too.
It is.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah, that's definitely pea green.
Oh yeah.
The vegetable.
Yeah.
Green.
But even before its usage towards extraterrestrials, the phrase little green men actually was referenced to a lot more supernatural fairy tale creatures like goblins and certain fairies. So the phrase has been around for a while, but it just wasn't connotated to extraterrestrial beings, until the 1950s.
I'm getting so excited, I'm hiccuping.
Absolutely here. Actually, we're probably going to get... Don't do that voice again. We're going to get...
No.
mouse
Steamboat
is...
Willie's free.
No. The voice, that specific voice, the mouse is going to take us down if I do that again. Don't you dare. I see that smirk on your face.
God dang it, Bobby.
That'll work. That's fine. Also, the Kelly-Hopkinsville area has had some alien festivals to celebrate this incident. Just like a
Mothman festival.
Like the Mothman Festival. In fact, that's where Joe...
does the Hopkinsville Goblin have a dump truck, too?
No, they don't have any little statues like that. They have the occasional, UFO smoking and everything. So, yeah, there's no
bakery. There's no bakery on the back
of a goblin statue.
I'm still concerned about that. We still need to have a session regarding
that. Need to go to therapy.
Yeah. Go to therapy. Get help.
But In fact, Joe Nickel, there's actually a photo of him. He's at the festival, and there's people dressed up as aliens, like the classic black robes.
And then he's getting PTSD, and he pulls
getting,
out 12 gauge, and he's like,
getting,
"Oh God!"
He's getting taken by the aliens. Like he's got his like vest on.
At least he's got a good. At least he's a good sport about it. At least he's having fun about it.
He has fun. He actually did all the. He actually went for research and everything.
Nice.
He looked into it. News articles, talked to Lonnie and a couple of his survivors. Most of the survivors nowadays
passed away.
They are either passed on or they don't want to talk about it, and I don't blame them. Like,
no, I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't blame them either.
Sometimes when it's that traumatic, I just don't want to talk about it. And I don't blame them. But in all of this, in all of the craziness of this, do I believe that the Sutton family saw something? Yes. I believe they saw something.
But what was the something, though?
Were they legitimately scared?
Oh, absolutely.
Highly.
Yeah.
In fact, Geraldine Sutton, I keep going back to Geraldine Stitt. I keep going back to her because she is a descendant of all this.
Yeah.
It's part of her legacy.
Yeah.
She has said that you can choose not to believe it, but don't call it a lie. They were legitimately scared, and I do think that it was.
And it could have been great horned owls. It could have been, It could have been a case of mass hysteria.
Yeah.
They were the emotion they felt is legitimate.
I agree. I do agree that whatever they had was real.
Yeah.
And heck, weird little detail that was in Geraldine's books, but again, I take it with a grain of salt because I've not been there and things could be different.
Yeah.
They described saying that there was a barren circle, like there's a circle not too far from the property that's just nothing grows on it. I'm like, The fact that it was only in those two books, I have my question.
Yeah, because that's fair.
Man, it's like I can't take it at face value. I would love to, but also, I'm trying to look at both sides here. That believers and skeptics.
Yeah.
And that's still a question. What did they see? I mean, great horned owls, that's scary enough because you can get your eyes ripped out.
Yeah, those talons are nothing to mess with.
Those talons and those beaks are nothing.
It could have grabbed his head when it was like, it was kind of like swooping at him or something. But the silver, the glowing and all of that.
Well, they do have like a grayish underbelly and everything, but grayish tan, but even then, that's still pushing it.
Yeah.
Like have you ever seen a great horned owl like try to be territorial and look bigger?
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like its arms aren't up, but it's out, and it looks scary.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah,
like there's no doubt.
Owls are not something to fuck with.
Yep.
Don't fuck with owls.
And if these beings were extraterrestrials, aliens from another planet, and they were visiting to say that they probably have been trying to reach us about our planet's extended warranty.
Oh my god! I finally got an extended warranty spam call yesterday.
I've been getting
for the first time in years.
I've been getting the you need your homeowner's warranty from the warranty department, and I'm like, there's no warranty department.
Yeah.
This is the dumbest thing. These damn scammers.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. I've been having that joke for a while, the extended warranty thing.
Yeah.
I can.
No, mine's usually the Medicare and Medicaid and the funeral expenses covered.
Oh, God.
Yeah, those ones are fun.
Man, they're ready to have you dead. Come on.
Fucking hell.
Well, but that is...
So, what is your final... If you had to categorize it, where do you fall on this?
On this, like real, fake.
Real, fake. What would be your go-to? Like, if it is fake, what do you think it was? Sort of like what I do with some of my episodes.
Yeah. I gotta say, like, I'm to quote the X-Files, I want to believe.
Yeah.
Like, do I believe that we are the only sentient species in this universe?
Absolutely
Hell
not.
no. Hell no. If we are the only sentient species, the only thing capable of thought and technology in the vastness of space, and we are nothing more than a dust mote compared to the universe.
Yeah, we cannot be.
Or even the other universes, the actual, or even the universe, because this is the galaxy, the actual all of creation, the intergalactic. No.
No.
We are we are nothing. On the grand scale of things, we're nothing. We're dust mode. Yeah. But part of me wants to believe that, they did see, because I might be a skeptic in my own rights, but I'm also been delving myself into this for so long, since I was a kid. Like,
that it's like, there's no way that we're the only intelligent life forms.
I want this to be real. Part of me wants this to be real.
Yeah.
The other part of me thinks that it probably was owls. Some people think that there's a cover-up because they say the Air Force got involved, but the Air Force is not from Fort Campbell. No, it's not an Air Force base. It's an Army base. Yeah. It's an Army base. They have I think some air-based Army stuff, but that's it. But it's not Air Force. Yeah. And even Project Blue Book, which I want to do Project Blue Book. That's gonna be an interesting one.
Actually, that's in here.
That got thrown in there, and they were like, not enough information to really investigate. Yeah. So some people think it was actually there's a cover-up involved, especially with a lot of other extraterrestrial stories, which I understand that, but it's also like, because this was in the 1950s, just 8 years after Roswell, New Mexico happened.
During the height of alien sightings.
Yeah, so I think so. A whole lot's going on. I really don't know what they saw. Do I believe that they were scared?
No,
yes.
Yeah.
I will forever believe that. What about you?
I'm sort of in the same boat. Like, I want to believe. I'm trying to think of like animals that live in rural Kentucky, especially back in the 50s, because infrastructure's changed, land has changed, but like owls.
There were some who thought that it may have been cats, but I don't think that's cats. And others say that it was monkeys, that a circus lost its monkeys, but the thing is, there were no reports of circuses losing monkeys. Are you okay there? Did you forget how to breathe properly?
I forgot to not swallow my own spit.
Wrong pipe. Yeah. So one said monkeys, and I'm like, that's a stretch.
Monkeys is a long shot.
That's big time long shot.
Well, I mean, the only theory I could connect monkeys is they worked in a carnival. Maybe they kept pet monkeys, but even that's goofy.
That would have been brought up in the story because again, Lucky would have tried to cover himself and say, we had monkeys. Plus, the description of those do not look like monkeys.
No.
Also, a 4-foot tall monkey, that's a massive ass monkey. That's a baboon, dude.
Which do have massive asses. Mm-hmm. There we go. It was baboons. We solved it.
Baboons are no joke, man. Those things are vicious.
I tend to lean towards owls. I wouldn't think house cats. Bobcats, I doubt it. Black bears are way too big. Hawks, falcons still sort of fall under the owl thing because predatory bird.
Also because it says that it floated from the tree to the ground. Yeah. So that it had
flying squirrels.
That's too small. Flying squirrels ain't that big. They're itty bitty.
Raccoons.
That's stretching it.
Yeah, possums, raccoons are a stretch.
Nah, possum wouldn't work because it's like possum's like this little. Little ones.
I don't know. Like, I want to believe it's probably a species indigenous to that area, but I don't know. It's just weird enough, and there's just enough holes to be poked in each animal and be like, well, there's enough almost, but not not quite.
There's enough holes to be poked in both the real and the fake.
And the fantasized.
So truly that's what I don't like about this case. It's not cut and dry, but most
and also and I'll wrap it up with my side of it with this theory that Mr. Blackman put in the field guide. Which paragraph was it? And I'm just gonna quote the book directly. Here we go. Goblins may be extraterrestrial, and he phrases the book like everything in the book is real, so it's extremely, again, salt shaker's worth of taking a grain.
Yeah.
The goblins may be extraterrestrials, but they're just as likely demons from another dimension. A naturally occurring terrestrial species, the product of a government experiment gone awry, or magical entities unleashed by a powerful witch.
Yeah.
So
That last part's a little goofy.
the last part,
Saying a magical witch, I mean...
demons from another dimension. Oh, there we go. We're multiversing it.
We are.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's it.
Hell,
Don't worry, Sutton family. We figured out they're demons from another dimension that we caused.
The Suttons did, Lucky and Elmer were like, well, they look like, demons or goblins or something. Like, the word goblin was thrown around, but extraterrestrial, they just now maybe. That has been the Kelly-Hopkinsville incident. You can encounter, whichever one you use. Yeah. You can defer from your own information what you will. You may think that it's all a bunch of hokum, a bunch of fakery.
Hooey.
Bunch of hooey, brouhaha, whatever you want to call it. You can believe it.
Kerfuffle.
What do we have for next week's episode, Tony?
Well, my puns are so awful.
Go ahead.
Well, I was surfing the internet.
Okay. Are we doing water-based stuff again?
You don't have thalassophobia, do you?
No. Keep me away from the dark water. Keep me away from the ocean.
So the Mariana Trench is a little too dark, deep? Literally the darkest, deepest thing.
The AC is... We have the AC off in my house right now because that'll pick up on the microphone, and the fan is off, and I am already getting cold again because Tony is a prick.
At least it's not a giant toad in the Mariana Trench. Wow. I am a good person.
I hate you.
I know.
Well, everybody, thank you once again. Thank you all once again for listening to Tall and Short with Tim and Tony. Thank you all for waiting for us to come back. We're glad to be back. We do enjoy doing this. It's fun. We get to just goof off and be stupid, which is,
what we do normally, just recorded evidence of said stupidity.
Our logo, there we go, that's the word. Our logo is by Brittanie Norris. You can find us on Tall and Short Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. You can also email us at tallandshortpod@gmail.com. You can send us updates on how your life is doing, on topics that you'd like us to cover, anything. Please go ahead.
Message us on Instagram. We're on there too.
Yeah, we're there. And then, like, comment, 5-star, subscribe, whatever. Tell your friends, tell your dogs.
Tell your goblins.
Tell the little silver men who are looking in your window late at night.
That's just Tim in a weird suit. He probably needs to...
Yeah. That's actually a legitimate fear of mine, by the way, is,
Yourself and...
No.
Oh my god, it's me!
I don't like darkness looking in without, blinds or something. My overactive imagination, I can see, a face peering in, and it will scare the fuck out of me.
Okay, we're gonna close the episode on a funny note. Have you seen that GIF?
GIF. GIF, you uncultured bastard.
The GIF. I'm sorry, I don't know why I knee-jerked like that. The GIF of the black man on the cruise line, and he turns around from the ocean, he starts walking towards a window, and a little white lady's face.
Yes! That scared the piss out of me. That type of shit, I can't do that, man. Ugh.
I love that one.
That's my fear, man. So
fear old white women?
Karens. Thanks, everybody.
Anyway, thanks for coming on.
Y'all have a good day. Take it easy.